How long? 10 years?
Yes.
10 years, we worked together, lived life together, seen each other's kids grow
A
up.
little bit of our insight on self-care. It's no right answer, wrong answer. It's self-care. So it's according to you. What you feel is best for you.
Me is a way of making others feel better about themselves. Being a part of their life, supporting them, that's a part of self-care, because if you make people feel better, then you feel better. Another thing, I find self-care be good as reading, right? Using my imagination and reading a book, or taking time for myself, that's self-care. Cleaning the house, and that is mopping the floor. As she knows, I mop the floor crazy. Every time she walks through my house is wet, right? Because I'm just mopping. I'm always mopping. That's a part of self-care, right? That's therapeutic for me, right? Walking and vibing with people, that's self-care to me.
Okay. Well, me, self-care, like, I love to eat. So cooking, food, restaurants, like, taste the different flavors and stuff like that. Like, that's my self-care. I don't just want to eat the same thing over. I want to try stuff. I'm not trying the icky stuff like cow tongue and pig fin and stuff, but I like to try different flavors, different culture flavor. Me, I'm good with cleaning too. Like, I got OCD. When I'm stressed or whatever, I just clean. Like, I'm extra stressed. You see me washing walls and just going in. So
You put music on?
yeah, blasting Chris Brown. Like, that's what I blast. Like, he's therapeutic. Cause a lot of people disagree, but I think when his songs, it teach you about how guys think and stuff like that. He teach you how hood guys think, and then he shows you his emotions of the way he think with how he messed up, and he regret certain relationships and stuff like that. So it's like a boy version of Mary to me. So listen to him is like therapeutic.
Yeah, he is a boy version of me.
And just dancing just one time without worrying about getting sick or a shootout afterward or something like that. Like, that's self-care to me. Going out without worrying about all that nonsense.
Like today, what we did today.
Yeah.
Right? That's a part of self-care, taking care, cooking lessons, healthy cooking lessons. We went out to
St. Barnabas had the cooking lesson.
Right. That's self-care for yourself and for the family too, right?
You learn different recipes and stuff like that. We're gonna show the video later, but we had different recipes. It was healthy and it was good. It was real flavorful. Like, some people think like it's healthy, it don't have no flavor, it was actually good. I ate stuff that I never even tried to eat before, so it was actually good, and I liked it. So we're gonna switch the topic up, talking about men being abused, and our point of it, or what experience we had as far as men being abused. So I see men being abused, and I see the men that's being abused, they was taught not to hit women, not to do this, not to do that. So, like, they'll take the abuse or whatever. But after a while, you see they be starting to beat the mess out of a person or stuff like that. So, like, a guy, he be like, all right, stop putting your hands on me, stop putting your hands on me. Yeah. And then he breaking your nose or whatever, and then you claiming victim, not knowing you was beating him on his face for like 3 years or 4 years. So
a lot of things is stems from our childhood.
Yeah.
Right? Men feeling abandoned at home. A lot of it feeling like, okay, probably dad's not around.
Mm-hmm.
Mom has a job or two that she has to maintain to sustain the household.
Mm-hmm.
Having multiple, children and siblings that, the mother has to take care of. You may have aunt, uncle living in the house, or that takes away from the children
Your space.
Your space, that has a lot to do with it. Feeling unheard, feeling like, you didn't have a voice in your household, or sometimes being told, like for me, my brother, he felt like he wasn't the man of the house. My father said that he was the man of the house when he stepped out the house. But he is the sixth child out of 8.
So nobody respected.
And, he grew up feeling like, he wasn't, able to be the man of the house. You know what I'm saying? Because he had all these older sisters. You know what I'm saying? Telling him, hey, you still do this the way I told you. You know what I'm saying? I'm the woman of the house, right? Daddy's not here. I'm 17, 15 years older than you, probably 5 years older than you, and and you ain't no man anyway, you're a little boy, right? So you grow up with that resentment, you grow up with that hardcore interior feeling like, no one cares, not feeling like you respected. And a lot of times they bring that into the relationship. They don't realize it, but they bring it into the relationship. And we was talking about men not really reaching out for different resources. right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Having a support group of men, letting them know, you know what I'm saying, how to be a man, or what are the righteous things to do as a man, and how to take care of family, how to be a present dad, not to be a weekend dad or things like that. A lot of times as women we abuse our little brother, big brother, and they take it out on their women, it's unfortunate, but it happens.
Yeah. I think they use excuses too, like, oh, because this happened to me, this happened to me. No, you're grown now. You could voice your opinion, and you voicing your opinion the wrong way. You voicing your opinion as far as being bitter or being a bully, and not like, okay, I think this is good because they don't have the thing to sit down and talk to you, because everything is like, oh, she's nagging again, she's this and that. Like, why do I have to nag? They have all this abuse and stuff, and just like women, we have all the thing like, oh, you the woman of the house, you have to cook, you have to clean, you have to do laundry or whatever. Because when I grew up, my mother's like, oh, you got to do this, you got to do that. Oh, the boys got to take the garbage out and this and that. No boy duties, no girl duties. It's household duties.
My thing is if you say that you want to make a relationship work, y'all got to find the tools together, right? Mm-hmm. That's when you start using the excuses not to make it work, right? Yeah. Because some people don't realize they have an issue until it's presented to them. Right? A lot of times when men are only taught that women's supposed to cook, what happens when they find a woman that don't want to?
Then they think she's weaker as a woman because she don't cook, not cook, or they compare them to their mother. Like, you don't look like my mother ain't nigga like this.
Initially you think, okay, yeah, it's a snow gonna come, put the sword out there, we have a house or whatever it is, and men, they take the initiative to go out there and do it, you know what I'm saying, for the family, for the woman. God forbid something happens to my wife, God forbid something happens to my children, uncle, aunt, or grandma that's living with us, you know what I'm saying? So they take the initiative to do it before anyone says something. But the ones that aren't doing it, it's because a lot of times their mother has been doing it for them. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of it comes with probably the father's not in the household to tell him that's still your job. And then a lot of times women, they enable their men. Because they was told that was their job. Right?
Subconsciously, you enable.
Right, you know what I'm saying? Like, you thinking, my father had us cooking all the time, had us cleaning all the time. So I put that into my relationship. That's where the problems come in, because it's like, hold on, buddy, but then you enable that person. You get tired of cooking though, where it's like you just want to come home to a man?
Of course.
Yeah. Like,
that's when I go to a restaurant, because if I had a significant other, then I'd be like, oh, can you cook me something? You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't have that problem when I had a man, but once in a while. But now I'll be like, I'm going out to eat. Like, if I don't want to cook, it's a chef in there. I don't care if it's a girl or a guy. Maybe, and I'm going to sit there. It's fine. Same thing I'm going to spend on groceries. I'm going to spend it and have a little cocktail. I want a home cooked meal or somebody.
Yeah, I be wanting a home cooked meal. I ain't gonna lie. I get tired of my own food.
Would you feel some of the benefits of
security? Depending on like financial security, right? That's a benefit. The comfort that you have when when you have a rough day, you want to come home to your significant other and just sometimes vent, let it out, let him, he lets you know, tomorrow's a new day. It's not that, not saying it's not a big deal, but maybe you could go about it this way, or maybe you need a woosah, calm down a little bit, drink some tea, whatever it is that makes you comfortable, just do that. 2 parents in a household.
Yeah, I think that's a benefit, and you can see the difference of the kids that they was raised with 2 parents.
It's still tough because different personalities, but we could figure this out together, right? We'll be a solid head. The non-benefits. Being alone, having that quality time to yourself, that's a benefit.
Get your self-care.
Yeah, that's a part of self-care, right? Sometimes you don't have time to take care of yourself. That can make you miserable. You're always worrying about the next person, and because you love that person. Sometimes you just don't want to talk. You know what I'm saying? You want to be in your own head. You want to read your own book. And no one want to go in the living room, but you probably in the room like, dang, I want to read a book, but damn, shoot, now I'm arguing with this dude because he want to watch TV in here. There's probably no AC in the living room, but we know we got AC in the room. Getting to know yourself, taking time for yourself, or getting back to the things that you used to do. If you never take the time for yourself, you're gonna always feel like someone has to be around you to fulfill your needs. It's just loving who you are and having to get up and go whenever you please and any of those things, and it don't have to be anything bad. It's just, okay, you're a grown woman, you know what I'm saying? You're a grown man. You just want to pick up and go whenever you want to go.
The pros of being in a relationship is you have somebody to lean on when you slack. Like, if you can't give 100% today, like, I just want to give 30. Like, can you pick up the slack? Like, whatever it is, mentally, physically, financially, whatever. Like, I just need you to. And then for you to be there to be like, oh, I'm going to pick up the slack or whatever. I guess you could put that under security.
We take care of our households and ourselves either way, right?
Yeah. So that's what I'm like, what else is.
Right, you know, so it's like you can appreciate it when you're in a relationship and then you appreciate it when you're not, you know what I'm saying? Because us as women, a lot of us are women, some of us have a hard time doing it, but we don't know what, you know what I'm saying? We don't know what it's like to just fall short or just, not fall short, but just give up. But it's still a task,
Yeah,
right? It's still a task, right? So if he can't do it, I'll do it. The only thing we can't do is take, you know what I'm saying? Well, you could sexually take care of yourself, but in many ways you can't. But other than that, those are the major things that we kind of, you know, miss.
I think that, to me, the pros of being single is like you said, like, you can make decisions and you don't have to be like, let me go discuss it with this person first. Like, this is the decision, this is what I'm gonna make, and you know that's the best decision for me. So if you get more selfish, but I don't care. I don't want to settle for nothing. I don't want to not be the best that I could be because I have to go ask your permission. Whatever. I think something's great for me. I don't think I should go discuss like, oh, I want to do this or whatever. If I'm telling you I want to do it, that's fine. But it's not for you to have an opinion to say if I could do it or not. I ain't asked you, but opinion, I'm just telling you. So now if you're in a relationship and you can't discuss your day and you can't discuss what you're doing, whatever, because they're negative or they don't think there's, then that's when it becomes like annoying. Like, is this a job? Is this a relationship? Are we working together? Am I trying to please you? Am I being a person you want me to be and not the person that, you know what I'm saying, I am? A lot of people, they dumb themselves down for relationships or they don't be the best they could be because of this person. Like, oh, I don't see you as that, or I don't see, so what? Like, if I want to do it, I want to do it. And when you're in a relationship, those are some things that you have to do. And that's what your mate have to do with you. So,
you know, right, in a relationship, how we kind of lose ourselves, right? Like, we know what we like to do, right? I haven't read a whole book in years. I used to run through a book sometimes, depending on the pages, 4 days time. It's taking almost a year to finish a book, right? Like, and that's not just even relationships, that's just a lot of responsibility too, you know what I'm saying? But you have to take time. Like I said, it's been a couple of days, I told myself, don't turn on the TV, just read a book, right? If that puts me to sleep, that's fine. I'm gonna fall asleep with the TV on anyway, right? So if I can fall asleep with my face in the book, you know what I'm saying, I'll wake up feeling like I accomplished something for the night, right? The page in my face, okay, that's just, you know, it's proof I've actually read my book, you know what I'm saying? What did I do last night? I woke up with my face in the book, right? So, you know, and then when you get in a relationship, you know, you take so much time, you invest so much time into the next person, and you ask yourself, damn, last time I read a book? You find yourself questioning these things when you're upset, right? You find yourself like, when last time I did this? When last time I did that? You know what I'm saying? That self-care is still important even in a relationship.
Yeah. And that's what you got to learn to find that balance. And how do you learn to find that balance? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you learn to find that balance? Because, say, like, you read books, right? I'm not a book reader. I'm a movie watcher. I could watch any movie that was like the book you read. The book is way better than the movie. It's more in detail, whatever. So you have the balance. Oh, let me read this book to you, and then let's go watch the movie. So that could be like a balance of, you know, both of you, not taking from
each other.
Yeah, so compromising to me is number one. At this point, I like being single. I don't want to do compromising. I don't want
to. You don't want to compromise right now.
No, I don't, because I feel like I have so much going. I invested in so much or whatever. I don't have the time for a relationship now, so I can't even give nobody no time. I'll be like, oh, I got 3 hours right here. Oh, I got 5 hours. Oh, I got to go back here. Let me spend time with you for a little something. Because people make time for people. So if I make like an hour or two for you, I feel like I'm doing something good because I'm making time out of my busy schedule. It's not that busy, but I be having things to do. You would look like, what? 2 hours this day, 4 hours this day, like you don't got no time?
Today you don't
not knowing that I'm actually making time for you, but it's not the time that you need.
The thought of me jumping back in a relationship right now is I'm not doing it either. Like, you know, like I said, we talk about, oh yeah, you know, this guy, or he look good, or, you know, and then you kind of picture yourself with the person, but when you realize, like, all right, now this for like an assignment.
Because you're a good woman, and then Like me, I'm like more domestic. Like I would like cooking, I like
Yeah.
cooking, I like doing, I like
I
taking
love that.
care of men, I like doing like us going out on dates, let's go on vacation, let's do. I'm not. A guy might think I'm clingy, but
Oh yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
oh, she clingy, she wanna do. No, like just if you're in a relationship, let's do stuff together. We don't have to do everything. You still gonna have time for your friends, and I'm gonna still have time for my friends, but we're not just gonna lay up. We're just not gonna meet to cuddle or meet to do. That's not no.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not.
Yeah.
I'm not taking
For me, I'm kind of used to that type of partnership though, or that having that household, right? With the kids and the men, and okay, it's a routine. Like, okay, yeah, I go to work, come home, figure out what's gonna be made for dinner, or
Mhm.
maybe we order it now, or maybe it's fast food night,
Mhm.
right? Or so I'm used to that. So when I'm back, now that I'm back into being single, I'm like, you know, because I've been like that for so many years, I don't technically know what it's like to be in a relationship and start all over, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm not really ready for it.
Mm.
Like, okay, it's an interview, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not authentic, right?
Yeah.
Like everybody's trying to. It's like a lot of disguises, and we put on our poker face. You know what I'm saying? To act like we're the best of who we are,
Mhm.
and that's why I had a conversation with my sister and about being honest. Like I think if you're honest with the person that you just met, you know, then there's no surprises,
Yeah.
right? And then I can like you or not really have an interest in you. You know what I'm saying? Regarding what you just said.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I can make
Leaving
that.
my choice. Yeah.
Let that be my choice. Let me determine that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I'm not judging you. I just don't think that this would work.
Mhm.
You know, and if you still need time for yourself before you get into another, you know what I'm saying, conversation with someone else, okay. Or if you jump right into something else, that's okay too. That's what this dating life is
I
about.
first went into dating, so I'm just like, oh, let me not be too judgmental, whatever. Getting the ultimate fuckboys, like they just want ass, like just straight off the back, like send me a picture, send it this, and I'm like, I'm not that type of chick. I'm not going to. I'm not sending no pics. I'm not doing this. And they're like, what you got? Oh, what you doing? Watching TV? What you got on? What do you wear to watch TV? You understand what I'm saying? Like, I just met you. What do you think is gonna? So I don't know what girls is doing out there or whatever, but they crazy. And the first thing they want to do is send dick pics. Nobody wants to see it. No, they're not cute. Nobody wants to see that. Like, especially at my age. Like, I'm older, right? I got grown kids. I'm a grandma. I'm this and that. So no, that's not.
Yeah, and if you're honest about what you're wearing, because in my house, I can do what I want to do, right? I'm not telling you I'm not wearing anything.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not gonna show you
Yeah.
that I have no clothes on. You know, I don't even want to run into. You know, that's the thing about it. That's why I'm so used to it being in a relationship.
Yeah.
Because then you can, you know, you can then put on makeup and while he's at work, show a picture of yourself. You know what I'm saying? And you know, look differently. You know what I'm saying? But when you're getting to know somebody, you don't know my last name yet, but you want to see my body. Right?
Yeah.
That's what.
Yeah.
You
Or
know,
my real name. Cause
you probably didn't ask, right? But
what's your name, DJ? How many people you just meet in a month? How many people you just want to be together with? Like, knock it off. First thing I say is what made me special. You're cute. You're beautiful. That don't mean nothing. I could be dirty, have crusty panties on. I could have an infested bed bug house and all of that because I'm cute. I'm the one for you.
You think it's different now than it was back in the day?
Well, I was younger back in the day, so I didn't care. So everything was like a playground. Oh, he cute. Okay, he ain't cute. Oh, he cute. Okay.
Yeah.
I always gave my time in between relationships for me. Like,
What did you do?
Self-care.
Yeah.
I went out, chill with what I wanted to chill. I did what I wanted to do. Like if I wanted to, because you know me, into the music. So if I wanted to do a video, I did a video. If I wanted to do an album, I did an album. I wanted to do a photo shoot, I did a photo shoot. I wanted to do a show, I did a show. I wanted to travel, I traveled. You know what I'm saying? So not being in a relationship is good for me. Like my kids is grown now. You know what I'm saying?
And you
like
can do this.
I'm a great, and I could do this. I could do whatever I want. Like okay, tomorrow I want to do this or whatever. I don't have nobody saying like, oh, you too old to be doing that. You said no. I could do what I want to do.
Yeah.
As long as it's not coming out of your budget, your pocket, it's not disturbing your life. Your opinion don't matter. Not to be disrespectful, or whatever, but it's not gonna matter. Like,
No, it's about you. Like, you know, people like, no, it's just no. It's not always 50-50 when it comes down to you. You got to give 100% of your time to you. You know what I'm saying? So
And that's what I did. I was taking for myself, like, oh, they don't like this, oh, this happened, oh, this person ain't come to my show, that person ain't do this, you ain't show up, oh, you supposed to get the tickets, you ain't get the tickets, you don't. No, I do everything by myself, do it myself. If it take me 1 day or 300 days, as long as I get it done, I'm fine.
yeah, it's your accomplishment that makes you feel better. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What do you feel about the judgment on women?
We have to be strong, but that stereotype that all black women are angry, I don't like.
Yeah.
Black angry woman, that pisses me off because that makes me even more angrier, right? Because that's insulting me.
Yes.
You know, I'm aggressive as a woman because I had a father that was aggressive. It had nothing to do with my race.
Yeah.
I had a friend that was German and Puerto Rican, and she was aggressive. I had a friend that had an aggressive mom, and she wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so and she was African, so that's not necessarily true. If you have somebody, yelling at you and demanding you and giving you too much responsibility that they're supposed to take from you too, anybody will be upset, right?
Mm-hmm.
So because you're a woman, you're angry. I don't like that.
When we express ourselves for dumb shit that people do, and then they say we bitter. Like, how many times do you want me to get violated, disrespected, called a bitch, called this? Because, like, say if you're walking down the street, right, and a guy try to holler at you, you don't want to talk to him. You want to keep going your day. He's on the corner. Whatever the reason why you want to talk to him. Fuck you, bitch. Da-da-da-da, throw a bottle at you. Da-da-da. You just tried to holler at me. And then you're going to throw it like, this is the disrespect. And then you mad when it's somebody down the block that really want to talk to you. Hey, excuse me, miss. How you doing? You okay or whatever? You don't want that same energy. Like, you already pissed because he threw a bottle at you down the block. So you walk about like, oh, this is about me talking about black girls with the black race. Respect the black women, and we won't be so bitter and angry. Take care of your kids that you put up in this, regardless. Because a lot of men be like, oh, I ain't even try to get her pregnant. I ain't even do that. That don't mean nothing. Take care of your kid. Do what you gotta do for your kid. Oh, I'm not giving her no money for her to go get her hair done, go get her nail done, or whatever. But then if you walking around like a bum, like, look at her, she mad, dirty, and a bum, I'm mad, I got a kid with her. Like, what do you want from me? Like, you ain't give me no money for the kid. You ain't doing this. Like, and if I'm hollering at somebody, look at her, she holler at the next dude, that's why, da-da-da. What do you want me to do? Sit here and just be your baby mother without you giving me no money, without you doing this and sit? No. Angry is not bitter. Is our reality is twisted. Because the same black guy that's not taking care of his kid, or the same brother, or the same bro, or whatever you want to call it, he's gonna go to that next relationship and gonna do what he has to do as a man.
A lot of guys used to always think I was older than my age, and I used to get that at 12. Like, F you, bitch. Like, yo, I'm like, dang. I remember the first couple of times I heard that, like, that's what they really calling us. That comes from our childhood.
Generational curse. That's how you gotta break them.
Yeah, like you teach your little sons, you know what I'm saying? You teach your sons, you teach your daughters. Never allow a man to talk to you a certain type of way, even when you're a little girl. You know, he has to respect you as a little girl.
And that's for grown women too. Because grown women, they'll start like, I'm gonna let it slide, I'm gonna let it slide. Then when he be like, you stupid, dumb, retarded. Then you're like, oh, he violated me. He been calling you that for the longest. Because, like, now you mad when he asked at all of them together?
Oh,
because one time he called you dumb, one time he called you
stupid, dumb.
Yeah, now you mad? Like, come on, you gotta catch those. Simple thing is learning how to talk to me. You shouldn't have a teaching God of somebody telling how to talk to you. Like, hey, ma. My grandmother, I don't want to hear hey, ma.
Did you? I didn't want to hear that.
What up, shorty?
I didn't want to hear that when I was younger. I have 4 daughters, and I still don't want to be called a baby mother. You're not important. I'm not gonna mention you at all.
Exactly, that's what I said. I don't even mention her.
So it's like, and if you so happen to come up, I'm still saying you're the father of my child. You know what I'm saying? Because if I work in the medical field, and they be like, oh, so that's another thing we need to talk about. Because I'm young, a lot of people think I'm a single mom.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe because I'm black, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Maybe so. But it's just like, oh my God, so it must be rough taking care of those kids by yourself. Who said that I was taking care of those kids by myself?
Yeah.
Who? He's not dead. Like who? Yeah, y'all know about a lot of women that are taking care of kids by themselves, but who says I am taking? Oh, I thought that you probably was. You're so young, and these are older people too, right? And when I act, I love to hear about people's backgrounds, like their stories and their journeys of life. So when I hear that they gotten married at 20, and you get married, you don't want to have a child out of wedlock. You know, you're married, you're 20. There was a time when you was young with a child, right? Should people think that you was a single mother? Right? You was married during those times, and
you had to get married.
You had to get married,
even when you wasn't in love.
Right. So you 20 with a 2-year-old. Oh my God, it must be hard taking care of a little 2-year-old like yourself. I'm sure you didn't get that. You know. But I guess because times have changed and people are just independent in their own right, and they just listen. I don't want to marry him. Yeah, we had a child together. We knew it was gonna last, but it didn't. Boom. I'm taking care of this child. He's still present in this child's life. It's like that for a lot of us too. Yeah. And a lot of households, it's not, unfortunately, but that's the reality. Okay. But that's what I get hit with all the time. And because you told him not to do it, he did it again. That's what kids do. Like, he's having fun.
And you ain't seen nothing yet.
Right. Oh, he's bad. He's 3. You know, like. My kids weren't bad.
Now they could though. I've seen some bad kids at 3 too. But that's with the parent and going like letting them just do whatever they want. Like he's fine, let him jump on the bed, let him jump on the couch. If your kid is in somebody else's house, and even if they run across your couch and stuff, if you see them running across somebody else's couch, please stop your kid before I have white couches. Please stop your kid.
Your parenting is bad. How about that? Like,
because I had to catch, like, what are you doing? Are you? And then they looking at you like you mean no, like that's kids is not supposed to run across the couch.
I'm talking about I'm looking at a kid and I'm like I don't see what they doing that's wrong. Yeah. 16 with a child. I never said my child was bad at when she was 1. I never said she was bad at 2. Now when she got a little older, I'm like, yeah, her attitude effed up.
Or active, real active.
You know what I'm saying? It's a difference. You know what I'm saying? When you're talking about a 2-year-old. Like,
when you being a kid that's like under 3, I be like, how bad can it be under 3? Like if they sticking their hand in a socket, yeah, you could be like, no, but you supposed to have those plugins.
Teach them that, but no. Listen, we couldn't afford plugins. And I didn't know that 99-cent store had them.
Yeah.
So
like 12,
I was 16. It was hot.
Yeah, of
you know, it's like hot, and then we have her touch something, go to the oven, and let her feel what that temperature was like. So we're just not saying hot. Like what's hot? Like I don't know what's hot. Hot, and then every time she looked at something that she thought was bad to touch, she's like hot. We like hot, right?
Yeah,
you know. But you know what I'm saying? I understand that he's putting a mark all over your shoes, and he turned 3 years old, he's still doing it. You turned 4, he's still doing it, and now your parenting sucks. Like, why are you not saying nothing to the kid? Man, how many shoes can you afford to buy over?
Yeah. But and he gonna wear them with the mark on it. I don't care if they mine's yours and your uncle's. You're gonna put them on. You're gonna wear it. You're gonna walk around the street and have everybody look at you like you're crazy. Now you're gonna know this is how it's gonna win that design. Like I grew up designing clothes and stuff on my clothes. Like we didn't have money, we didn't have clothes. I would have the same clothes. So after a while, you get tired of wearing the same thing. So you gotta cut it up and design it. So I'm good with remodeling clothes. But when my son got that remodeling clothes, he don't have remodeling clothes for him not having clothes. He just have remodeling clothes because he see me remodeling clothes. So he'll take something fresh and then just be drawing on and do it on. And I'll be like, you didn't wear it for 6 months where you could redesign it. Like you just straight out the pack redesign it.
I thought just came like, well,
yeah, like oh she be redesigned like a bit, and she like oh let me see this, let me see that. Or he'll cut it, and when I say redesign anything, the wall, the sheets, like just tag up everything. And I'm like, you can't get mad because he gets it from me, but he's not understanding that I only got it because I didn't have money to buy more.
My sister made curtains. She made a shirt out of curtains. And one time, I don't know, it was in a house, and it's not that she had it on, and we're just like this. My father was like, wait, isn't this for my curtain? He's looking the sleeve. Like, yo, and then at the same time, he's like, this is dope, but come on, she's cutting up my stuff. Like,
and that was me.
She was fly with it. Like, she was so fly with it. But then you start realizing things are missing. Like, wait, like, you know what I'm saying? She replaced it, so then you don't really know, right?
It's a Bobby Pin.
Right, you know what I'm saying? She'll get the button, she sew it in. She was so fly with it. It was easier because we didn't require so many, like, clothes that you wear outside because we was in Catholic school. So we didn't get new sneakers all the time. We didn't realize that we didn't have a lot of clothes until I started hanging out on the block, right? Like, yeah, because it's like your friend, you only see the friends in school when you're in school, right? And then when you go chill with them after school, we still in uniform, you know. So when I had like a summer youth job, then I started like hanging with kids in the community. I'm like, dang, I only got. I was literally wearing hush puppies in the summertime because I heard I was a spoiled kid.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, how? I did not have a lot of things, you know what I'm saying? And I'm saying, yeah, I like the Air Forces and field boots, like, you know what I'm saying? Like the Timbs, right? The field boots. But yeah, because I'm a, you know, not because I'm a girl, but who wouldn't want a different, you know, flavor of sneakers, you know? But I didn't get it like that. So if I got one a year, I was like, okay.
We was getting two a year. The first day of school and Easter. So you start in September, you got all the way to go around to Easter to get your second pair. Twisted.
We
like,
didn't get that.
Twisted. I had to start working young because I was not with it getting teased. You want to smack people. They, you know what I'm saying? Like trying to violate you, have jokes and stuff. So yeah. That's why my kids, like, they're so spoiled. Like that was me trying to break sometimes generational curses is not good.
Oh no, I'm about to tell you that.
Because when I said I was buying sneakers, I was buying clothes, I was buying this, it didn't have to be the flyest thing, but they had clothes wear. And I used to be like, don't put on your brother's stuff, don't put on your cousin's stuff, you know, because we used to get teased for that. When their generation came, they used to buy each other clothes, like, yo, let me buy that shirt with your cousin. And I'm like, we used to get teased for that. You buying used clothes and stuff like that, whatever. Like, you might as well go to the Goodwill.
Yeah, like, he spoils the kids as much as he can. And the crazy thing is because he had Jordans. He had.
Yeah.
And so it's like for me, you would think I'll be the one to do it because I'm the one that didn't have these things, right? Like, you know, so you would think it would be me doing it. But he grew up knowing that if you didn't have the latest sneakers, if you didn't have the latest jersey or a fresh fit, you know what I'm saying, fitted or whatever, you were gonna get joked on. But in the same sense, it's like she was still getting picked up to and from school. Like why she has to have her own phone at 10?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But but the kids come home, my friend has a phone.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like my friend gets $20 a day
Yeah.
for school. You know what I'm saying? $20?
But let me tell you why I was, because working, them long hours, doing overtime or whatever. First, you're giving them $20 because they eat breakfast, they out all day lunch. Sometimes they coming home from school. Sometimes your kids gotta stop somewhere after school to get home. By the time you get home, well, in like 6, 7, I was giving him $10 a day.
6th, 7th grade, right?
Yeah, but high school he was getting $20 a day, and I stopped giving him $20 a day because his friend, their parent was giving him $3 a day, right? And I'm giving him more than $3 a day, but they splitting. And I'm like, no. Now you get $3 a day, y'all split $6 because you can't always have the extra. You know what I'm saying? To put in, no.
I couldn't afford it, and it wasn't even about me being able to afford it.
But it was compensating for me not being there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a difference. Like,
yeah, it was compensating for me not being there because I ain't have no babysitter. I ain't have this. So, like, if you go out with your friends, go to Wendy's or whatever, by the time you come out of Wendy's and get home, I'll be home or I'll be coming in right behind you. So I had to pay that.
Like,
you know,
because my dad had 2 jobs, right? So he worked at the post office. After that, you know, he was a process server, so he's serving people up until sometimes 10 o'clock at night.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be times where, you know, he knew he wasn't gonna come home, and by the time he did, if he did, he was in bed.
We'll be going to commercial break, and when we come back, we're gonna be going into the healthy cooking. Stay tuned. Welcome back to We Live Life.
So once our onion or our shallot is cut in half and we've peeled it, now we want to do a fine dice or small dice. And this is specific to the recipe that we're making today. So we're going to start by cutting this into strips, but we don't want to cut through the root. We want to leave this all connected. So we can kind of follow these lines that we have, and we'll start on one end. And I like to make sure that the tip of my knife is not going past the root. So if I cut down like this, I'm just going to cut the whole thing off, and I don't want to do that. So instead I'm going to pull my knife back so it's not going over the tip, and then I'm going to cut straight down to the cutting board. I usually kind of lead with the tip of the knife and follow through with the rest of the blade. And you can see I'm using my knuckles kind of as my guide of where I want to cut, and I'm trying to make these as close together as possible so that my cuts will be really small. And then that last piece, I'm just going from the side. So now I've cut this into a lot of thin strips, but it's not falling apart because I left the root on. So from here, I'm again going to use my knuckle as my guide, and we're just going to cut this into our small dice. And you'll notice when I'm cutting, I'm not cutting straight down because it kind of, it smushes it. So instead when we're cutting, we're always using a little bit of a sawing motion, and we're usually cutting down and forward, so down and forward at the same time. And that helps you to cut through things a little more easily, especially if your knife is not the sharpest. That will just help you out a little bit. Then when I get to the end, I might try to just cut off those last few pieces that are close to the root, and that can go in my scrap bin. So now I have a nice dice. I don't have to go back over it. Everything is about the same size and the same shape. I can move on. I don't have to like chop this anymore. So when we cut our onion this way, we just do one pass over the onion, and then we're done. And it ends up being pretty quick. Oh, and then we also put these scrapers at your station, and they're great for cleaning off our station in between ingredients. I love having a clean station. Sometimes people are cutting and they like have stuff all over, and they're like over here in the corner, like they'll even like have this here, and they're like trying to cut. I'm like, just take everything. There we go. Now we're nice and clean. So I'll show you the green onion next, actually. With green onions, I do sometimes like to just kind of make sure that this bottom section is clean. Sometimes this little layer that's at the bottom might have like a little dirt or sand in it. So you just want to make sure that feels clean. You can wash it off if you need to. I usually give them a little rinse before I get started. So for our green onion, today this is going to go on a salad. We usually use them as like a garnish for things, so we want them to look nice. So there's pretty much two ways that we can cut this. We can just cut this, into thin pieces. Again, using that down and forward kind of rocking motion. These look okay. But instead of cutting kind of perpendicular to our green onion, if we turn our knife instead on a bias and slice it this way, called a bias cut, then our green onions look a little bit nicer. So this will look really nice on our salad, or if you want to sprinkle it on top of whatever you're going to put green onion on, that just looks a lot nicer than that. For the dark green part, it's a lot more mild, so we can make these pieces a little bit thicker. And for this, it is really important to use that kind of sawing motion. Often with green onion, when we cut straight down, like it won't cut all the way through each time. So we want to use that slicing motion. And then when we get to this lighter green part, because it's thicker, it's got a more strong kind of raw onion flavor, we just want to make this a little bit thinner if we can. And if you want, you can take this, stick it in a cup full of water, and it'll grow your green onion, which is always fun.
That's what we're going to talk about next. Using the scrap, right?
So that's that. Next we'll do our sweet potatoes. So we're gonna roast these today. I like to peel them when I roast them because I find that they cook a little more evenly. But you can always leave the skin on if you want. I'm usually not super careful about peeling it because I don't mind a little bit of skin on there. I also love these Y-shaped peelers. I think they work really well. So if you're ever in the market for a new peeler, these things are great. And they're cheap. It's like $3 for $5 for $3. Alright, so for the potato we can cut it into wedges. We want it to cook kind of quickly today, so we're going to do about a 1/2-inch dice. So there is a trick for dicing potatoes quickly. Oftentimes I see people just kind of cutting them into rounds, but this potato is so long, if I cut the whole thing into rounds, I'm going to have so many of these small pieces that then I have to go back to and like try to dice individually. So instead, to make this quicker, because this is long, I'm going to cut it just into sections. If it's really long, I might cut it into 3 sections. If it's a really short potato, I I might not cut it into sections, but we just want a smaller piece like this. Now, I'm going to stand this up, and because this is really skinny, I'm just going to cut it into 2 pieces. If it was thicker, I might cut it into 3 slices. And then from here, I can cut this into my long pieces, kind of like what we did with the shallot. We always want to have long pieces, and then from there we can line that up and dice those. So very quickly I was able to dice a lot of that potato at once instead of taking the time to cut it into those browns. And this goes for like any long round vegetable. Carrots, any kind of potato, zucchini, squash, anything long and round. When we cut it that way, we save ourselves a lot of time. Next we'll do our broccoli. So, broccoli's pretty simple to cut. I just kind of have a fun trick I like to show people. So, just so you know, you can eat the stem of the broccoli. You can roast it. I like it in soups, especially if I make like a creamy, like broccoli cheddar soup and you're gonna puree it. Throw the broccoli stem in there. You just want the flavor of it. Or sometimes I'll even cut it up into pieces, freeze it, and put it into smoothies. Doesn't taste like much, but it's just, some extra veggies in a smoothie. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna cut up to where those florets start, and then these will naturally start to fall apart into those florets. We're gonna roast this today, so we're always thinking when we're cutting our vegetables, how am I going to eat this? Is it raw? Is it cooked? Am I using a knife and fork? Am I just using a fork? So for this, I might just use a fork to eat it, which means that I want this to be able to fit into my mouth. So if I have a big piece like this is going to be a little trickier to eat. I'm going to have to take a knife to it or take multiple bites to it. So I always try to make things nice bite-sized pieces and also evenly sized. So this, and my trick too, have a piece as your guide. So kind of set one piece where you're like, okay, this is what I want to match everything to. And that helps you when you're cutting to make everything the same size. We'll come to that later. So to separate the broccoli florets, what I like to do is find kind of this notch in between my pieces, and I just rotate that head of broccoli around until I get to the center. And I find when I do this, I do get fairly evenly sized pieces of broccoli, and I don't get like a bunch of, when you cut through a piece of broccoli and you get like all of these little things all over the place. So by cutting through the stem, you're minimizing that. Now when I get to this kind of big middle piece, my trick for, again, not getting those like little broccoli things all over the place is you cut into the stem and then you can just peel it apart. And when I peel it apart, I don't get all of those pieces that I would get if I tried cutting that in half. So it does make a big difference. Not that a lot of it goes to waste. It just feels like you're wasting broccoli when you just get all of these like pieces on your cutting board. And even for these smaller florets too, again, I can just cut through the stem and keep peeling that into smaller pieces until they're the size that I want. Same thing for this guy. I want it a little smaller so I can kind of peel them apart. So in the end, you want everything to be, roughly the same size. This one's a little big, so I might kind of go through there. Well, we want roughly the same size. It will shrink a little bit when it cooks because it releases all of its moisture. But we just want everything, kind of evenly sized. And when we roast it, it'll cook evenly. We're not going to have like a little piece that's burned while we have a big piece that's not even cooked yet. And then finally, these things are so heavy. And then finally, for our cauliflower, have either of you cut cauliflower before?
Yeah.
Okay. So the way I like to cut cauliflower, I think it's quick. Is I don't even bother trying to take the stems or anything off yet. I'll just cut it in half, and then in half again, making sure to get through the stem. because I can take the stem and all the leaves off in one cut. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a slice right here so that my stem is below my knife and my florets are above my knife. And I'm gonna kind of cut in at an angle so that when I cut down like this, I get all of that stem off, all of my leaves come off, and my cauliflower starts to break apart on its own.
I've been doing it wrong the whole time.
That's why I like to show people I mean, I get a lot of people in that are like, I don't know how to cut it, so I'm not going to buy it. But then also people that are like, I don't know if I'm doing this right.
Right.
And then unlike broccoli, cauliflower is a little bit hardier. So when I chop it up, I'm not as careful. So I will literally just, kind of cut it whichever which way. You end up with these like just round, weird pieces. So I just do my best to cut it until they're the size that I want. So unlike the broccoli, like it's not going to completely fall apart even if you don't cut it through the stem. So I just want to kind of match the size of my broccoli, but make it a little bit smaller because cauliflower is thicker and kind of hardier. It does take a little bit longer to cook. So if I'm going to cook both at the same time, I want to cut this a little smaller so that they end up finishing at roughly the same time. Like that. They don't need to look super even. And that's our cauliflower. So we can end up cooking it pretty quick, or cutting it pretty quickly. So that is it for the next demo. So I'm going to show you two around the kitchen, and then we'll get started cooking.
This is one of the recipes that we're gonna make. What's this called? Quinoa.
Toasting takes like a minute or two, and you'll start to hear it kind of pop and sizzle. The color's not going to change a ton, but you're going to notice a smell too. So it actually starts to smell nutty. I think it smells like peanut butter when it started to toast. And that just means that at the end, it's going to have a lot more flavor. And I think that by coating the grains in the oil before cooking it, helps you get a better texture when it's done too. So how do you kind of trick when we're cooking too is if we're constantly stirring things, they're not going to get as brown. So if we ever want to brown things, it's always best to kind of let them sit in the pan, have that contact with the heat before we stir it. So I usually do like every 30 seconds or so, just to make sure we're not burning it. I know that doesn't sound appetizing, but I do just like to use my knife to kind of cut that off, just so the skin is like a nice kind of shape to it. So I usually just, pull off what I can. If it's easy for me to kind of pull a piece of that off with my fingers, or easily slice it off with a knife, I'll do that. And then anything I can't reach, I'll. But if you want to take more off, go for it. And once all of your chicken is trimmed, you can leave it right on this cutting board. We're going to coat it in just a little bit of oil. So instead of putting oil on the pan, we're going to put the oil on the chicken. And we'll season it.
I have a question. So for me, I just found out that I have high blood pressure, so I'm trying to eliminate some sodium. What seasonings could I use to still give it flavor and not add salt?
A lot of doctors will say oh, don't eat any salt. You can still use a little bit of salt in your food. It's just reducing it. That's what I was talking about earlier. We use a low amount of sodium in food. And then there's different cooking techniques and seasonings we can add to add flavor. So
I can use this to rinse the chicken. I'm sorry.
You don't have to rinse the chicken. Yeah, so it's actually not recommended to rinse chicken anymore. Yeah. So instead, you just want to pat it dry with a paper towel.
Okay.
The USDA, you don't recommend washing your chicken because as far as cooking techniques go, if you can brown things really well, browning food adds a lot of flavor to it. And then my trick use any herbs and spices that you like, and just use as much as you want to add more flavor. But my trick too is to finish things with a little vinegar or lemon juice or lemon juice.
Oh, okay, amazing.
Acidic foods will brighten the flavor of things and kind of act like a finishing salt. So if you're, especially like soups and stews and saucy things, if you taste something and you're like, okay, like I can tell that there's seasoning in here, but I need to brighten it up, it needs something, where normally we would reach for some salt. Instead, add a splash of vinegar or add a squeeze of lemon or lime juice, and that's going to brighten up your flavor.
I'm gonna try that at home. On both sides.
I usually just pour everything on, including the seasonings, and then I just rub it all in.
Okay.
So we have salt. Do you want a little pepper on there?
Yeah.
Some of this is for other stuff. Did you want to add anything else? Garlic?
Yes.
Onions? So your hands have chicken on them?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you can just sprinkle on what you'd like. We'll save the parsley for the sauce.
Okay. I'm about to season this bad boy up. This chicken gonna be slamming. Okay. Yeah. You see me.
And put the lid on, and it'll cook for 15 minutes. So the way we cook it is very similar to white rice. And you can skip the toasting step. You don't have to do that. I just think it adds nice flavor to it.
Okay.
It's my rice. So when I do like 1 cup of rice, I'll do like 1 1/4 cup of water. And for me, it comes out nice and fluffy. But same thing with brown rice too. All the online recipes call it too much water, and that's why everyone's brown rice is terrible. Alright, so we get some bubbles now. We can pop the lid on. We'll turn the heat down to low, which on these stoves you have to be careful with because great.
Okay, add more curry to that? Or no?
You making curry roasted potatoes?
She said that's a good flavor. So I'm like, I never tried it. I'm open to try
I
something
like
different.
using like red and yellow spices on the cauliflower. One, because it doesn't have a lot of flavor to it, but
Yeah.
also because it's white, it just looks pretty. Like the yellow on the cauliflower looks really pretty next to the green of the broccoli.
So what's another red?
I would do like chili powder, or I might use like a little bit of cayenne in there. Garlic and,
Cayenne?
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
garlic and onion are always good. The adobo is really good on here too. Did you want to make your vinaigrette?
Oh.
But you gotta listen, gotta watch who you keep close. When you got a vision, where I'm from is 7 digits off. Then you gotta risk it. Don't judge me by my pockets. You ain't put $1 in.